Did you ever think Kirby would become a vending machine that shoots sodas at poor, unsuspecting enemies? I sure didn't, but I'm so glad he can. For this hands-on preview, I got to explore the entire first world of Kirby's newest adventure, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, including an end-of-world boss that proved to be quite an undertaking. I also got to try out a few time-limit challenge areas, seek out a bunch of collectibles, and of course transform Kirby in about a half dozen ways. And I've enjoyed every moment. Like many that came before it, the diverse power-ups Kirby can absorb from various enemies is at the core of the gameplay, and it's no different in Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Most of the early stages are split in two, sometimes even throwing a mini-boss your way about halfway through. And throughout the level, Kirby will have access to multiple powers to combat all of these foes. Choice is key here, as it almost never forces you to use an ability you don't want to use. The power-ups are great, but the first world didn't offer anything I hadn't seen before, except for the newly implemented Mouthful Mode. I don't mean to say that the power-ups aren't fun to use, but Mouthful Mode kinda steals the show. We already know about the car, and it's as fun as you would imagine. Driving and jumping around the stage, ramming into foes and obstacles, and even using it to discover secrets never gets old. But the car isn't the only option. In the first world alone, Kirby will get access to around a half dozen of Mouthful Mode power-ups, including a set of stairs that can smash foes and help reach high areas, and even a vending machine that shoots sodas at his enemies. Imagine going back to 1992 and telling someone playing Kirby's Dream Land on their Game Boy that one day Kirby could become a vending machine. Also, going into Mouthful Mode doesn't get rid of your active power-up, so there's nothing stopping you from being a traffic cone for as long as the stage will let you. But it's also not always just about becoming a stronger power-up. You'll see Kirby swallow parts of the environment, like becoming the top of a water tower to open it up, or even a set of lockers he can topple over to reveal hidden secrets. It doesn't stop there either. In between levels, you'll be on a world map, but a press of a button will teleport Kirby to Waddle Dee Town, a sort of hub world filled with things to do. In the weapon workshop, you'll have the ability to power up Kirby's copy powers. What was once a flamethrower now becomes a volcano power, allowing Kirby to shoot giant rocks of molten lava. The weapon workshop, new Waddle Dee Town buildings, and even progression are all tied to collecting Waddle Dees. Fans of the Mario 3D World series will be right at home in Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Each level is littered with collectibles and secrets to find, but it's not always collectibles that earns you a coveted Waddle Dee. Sometimes it's a challenge like finishing a stage without driving your car off a cliff, or even beating a boss without taking a single hit. It shouldn't be a surprise that this Kirby game, like a lot before it, shows a lot of difficulty restraint early on. I can go most stages without taking a single hit, though I fully suspect that will change down the line. Instead, a lot of the challenge comes from scavenging for well-hidden secrets. Just like in Mario 3D World, the camera itself hides a lot of areas that Kirby can squeeze through to find some hidden goodies. And every time I completed a stage and realized I had missed a Waddle Dee, I instantly felt compelled to dive back in to hunt them all down. Finally, after finishing the assorted stages and challenge rooms, you can take on the boss for that current world. In Natural Plains, it's a giant gorilla that can actually land quite a few hits if you're not careful. Also, as I previously mentioned, there's an extra challenge to defeat him without taking a single hit if you feel compelled to collect every Waddle Dee. I was able to do it after a couple of tries, and it really excited me for what challenges await me in the future. Also, remember the volcano power-up I mentioned earlier? Yeah, that's what I ended up using on him, and it worked. It worked pretty well. Pockets of difficulty are sprinkled in quite a bit for those that seek it. Let's face it, Kirby can fly, so platforming over holes in the world is almost never going to be a challenge, but he can't fly to the top of a stage freely, so platforming puzzles still need to be solved in a more traditional way. Unlocking challenge rooms have you mastering each of Kirby's various power-ups. Just beating one of these stages is easy enough, but if you want an extra star to spend on weapon upgrades, then you'll need to complete them in under a pretty tight time limit. More than anything, Kirby and the Forgotten Land has completely surprised me. As I made my way through the first stage, I was a bit worried I was in for a lot of walking down linear corridors, taking down the easiest enemies to ever grace a video game. I'm happy to say it constantly proved me wrong. Kirby and the Forgotten Land will present some challenges for those who seek it. I can't wait to get my treasure road times as low as possible to compete with my Nintendo Switch friends. I also think this is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of transformations. I've already seen a lot, and I can't wait to be surprised by what else they come up with. For more on Nintendo, check out the trailer for the upcoming Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, or check out our review of Pokemon Arceus. And of course, for everything else video games, stick with IGN.